Welcome back to Terra Invicta. So today we're going to be talking about the 5-ish, I don't know if it's mainly 5, but generally the biggest things I think people catch themselves on and generally trip them up when starting this game. Now, if you want no spoilers, if you want no help, I would fully recommend for game sense, generally first impressions, and also just generally quality of life, I'd suggest you play a playthrough of Terra Invicta. Do not care about how well you're doing, how bad you're doing, because this game is honestly very deceptive about how well you're doing, how bad you're doing in a traditional strategy sense. This game is not your standard strategy game to where you will spiral relentlessly out of control and in an unstoppable rampage towards your end goal. This is very much a game about deception, deeper strategy, and multiple layers of pursuit of success in the same goal. Resisting the aliens, escaping the solar system, helping the aliens. So, jumping into this game right here, this is a 2023 Resistance campaign that I've been messing around with. This is another Classico here. This is a America opening. You can see here by 179 out of 187. I've gotten this under control with some decently high admin people and also high persuasion people. I've been a new strategy I've been trying out. I think this is legit. Is no matter what your counselor wants to do, whether they're like this counselor who wants I want high command for assaulting alien assets, and for her she's an inspector. I want high espionage, high investigation for these increasing unrest, the sabotages, but I wouldn't mind high command on her, but mainly high investigation, high espionage for purge, crackdown, increase unrest, sabotage project, and stealing these projects. Very good. But every single one of these people, if I want them to be like an advise bot, like this person's shaping up to be, or an inspector, or basically a space marine, regardless of any of that, I am only pumping administration on any of them. The strategy I'm trying out, I think Pruin did a bit. I think he's fully switched over to that by now. He doesn't show much of the micro game anymore, so I can't really be for sure. But generally, the strategy I'm trying is pump nothing but administration, fill the rest of your stats with orgs. And once you get to 25 administration pumping and you have your administrative orgs, and you're maxed out on this is the big key. You want to be maxed on total orgs allowed. You can max out on this. This is, you're trying to efficiently fill the 15. But once you've got 15, 25 administration, probably then start pumping the actual primary things you need to top up to 25. But generally, 4 command point issues, and also swooping as many orgs as possible, as fast as possible, because in the early game, this is your economy, this is your accelerant, this is what you're looking at. I could have the best orgs in the game and have nothing but freaking Bolivia, and I am 10 times in a stronger position than I would be controlling, say, all of China with dirt cheap Garbo orgs. I'd be way more satisfied over in the Bolivian jungles than in Beijing with no orgs. So, the economy, the US so far, haven't toasted it, mainly getting unity down. Didn't actually notice we are below the 3, never mind, I got these mixed up. We're raising unity, we want it to be 5. Education's always good. America produces amazing science at the beginning of the game. That's why my science is really strong now. I think the US is really strong for an all-rounder opening. Good boost, good science. I also sniped Kazakhstan immediately. It's some good pocket boost. I plan on eventually, sadly, humanity first, as she's taken over the Eurasian Union, but my two-pronged strategy will involve chucking them out of here. The servants have taken over the United Kingdom. That's why I'm currently boosting here. I'm going to be throwing a revolt, throwing them out of the United Kingdom, and abandoning, well, not even that. I'll honestly be cracking down the servants' points and hoping that Exodus snipes them away. The United Kingdom has nukes. I can't let them have that. But we're getting more into just a general overview of this game. But it's sort of good to see what you should be focusing on. So we can see here China's uncontrolled. the first thing is I want to lock down nukes. I plan on controlling Russia, United States, I don't care. France has some nukes, looks like. The Academy's in here. In my game, you might be thinking, oh, they might get tossed out. I've already completed Deep Space Watch, so they are in no danger with their fortified position of being thrown out. They're also in control of Germany. The Benelux is somewhat of a problem, but it's GDP, no nukes, and no armies, not a major problem. Exodus has abandoned Spain. We'll see which one of these two powers grab here. It looks like the Academy is the strongest for uniting EU, especially with Italy as well. I'm fine with that. That's great, because I want humanity first. The best case scenario for me in humanity first is if they take over China. It sounds crazy, but China has more control points than I'll ever be able to manage. In Bruin's games, you can sort of see that. He has Russia, he has India, and he has the US. Somewhat of a similar strategy, but I'm actually doing the reverse of the opening. He started with Russia, then went US. I'm going US, Russia, India. We're both ending with India. We are reversing our starts. I'm never going to have enough control points for this. China, massive army, has 3 nukes. Not completely world-ending if these get launched, but humanity first will, like a rabid dog, attack out and hunt down the servants of the Protectorate, which will be good, because if humanity first controls China, the EU is dominated by the Academy, which is very docile and very anti-alien in that they want to be on level with them. As the Resistance, being on level with the aliens is resisting them. We are simply wanting to resist them off of the planet, so we are very aligned with the Academy. And humanity first going and absolutely beating up on the Protectorate and the servants is totally in our favor, because for alien hate, we have not unlocked that yet in the intel screen for aliens, but I would much rather the the humanity first tanks all of the hate for overthrowing, invading, and coupping these Protectorate and servant outposts. And once we lock them out of there, the initiative has already seized Brazil, Mexico, and it looks like the Academy, if they really want to, can take Canada. I doubt they will, because they probably will focus in Europe. There's truly not a good, strong place for the two pro-alien movements to root in, except for we can already see here. Not so much Pakistan. There's a thing here. Relations, they are rivals with India. So this actually overcomes the neighbor bonus. If you're wanting to go into India, I would not take Pakistan, because the rival bonus is more detrimental than the neighbor's bonus. So if you're going for India, it's very much just the Himalayan states and Bangladesh, and you've just got kind of full send. I don't like India start. The United States is usually safe, because if you can snipe Mexico, mainly snipe Canada into Mexico, then you're pretty much free to whittle away at the US till you get yourself in. Russia, also another strong start. I still think the strongest start in the game for all-roundedness is a European unification. There's simply so much GDP, so much available science here. It's insane. You very quickly, in the first couple years of the game, outclass what the United States can do in terms of science. Not so much in GDP, and especially not in military. That is why I'm going the US. I want a strong military. I want these guys to become Space Marines. So, common mistakes people make. The first one, definitely, militaries. You don't think you need them, but you do. There will come a time, I'm not going to spoil it, you need these. You need militaries. And by God, do you need a lot of them? And you need them not to be garbage. The second thing, denying, what I've been explaining, huge installations of power from your direct enemies is extremely important. Running up alien hate right now quite literally does not matter. I don't have a single space station. The alien agents, most of them aren't even on Earth right now. So right now, especially in the first couple days of the game, before the new normal event fires, is the best time to cuck over and to put a stranglehold on the influence that your main rivals can influence on you. That's why I'm immediately going for Great Britain. Later in the game, kind of be a waste of time. It definitely would be pissing off the aliens and the servants to simply allow Exodus to control Britain when I would rather have it myself. But right now, when my agents aren't doing much else, I'm maxed out on control points. The United States is fully in my favor. In priorities, everything's sorted. I'm not going spoils. I'll be honest, for spoils, I'm not sure what the meta is here. I'm still running the 0 spoils build. Because from the description of the thing itself, all it does is it reduces investments in education and democracy and reduces high national cohesion. And all it does is makes it to where coup d'etats are more likely to occur. But in the US, while it's peaceful and the military is being pumped, I'm definitely not at risk of being couped here with this level of public support. Another thing that's interesting, in the Deliver the Manifesto to the UN, I've noticed you get, for the less amount of factions that announce themselves to the world, the ever increasingly more influence you gain. It was only myself who delivered the full manifesto, and one other faction, I believe, was the Initiative. And I had a huge boost of popularity across the entire planet. It's ridiculous. We can even see the effects here. Of all of the factions in Russia, I've not sent a single agent here. I'm still popular. Even in places like Iran, which was almost fully servant controlled from the game's start, I'm still popular. The Protectorate is moving into China. Not the worst. I would much rather have Humanity First in here. We can see a operative there. That's my operative. She's working on destroying the alien phenomenon, or the xenoflora, basically. There. Much rather Humanity First in there, but because of control point limits, we can see here, I've got a long way to go before I can fully consolidate Russia into my sphere of influence as well. Another big mistake, your advisors suck at the start of the game, quite frankly. None of these advisors are the original advisors. And advisor number 3 and number 4 are also no longer among this list. Your starting advisors suck. They genuinely do, they suck. Whether it's due to lack of missions and the wrong stats, or just generally not being able to do anything. From my builds, I generally go like this person. Administrative will be pumping science, the celebrity. She will be my admin bot, GDP, science, very good. This person, we can see here, also a science bot, crazy. So, generally, science bot 1, when she is not controlling nation or public campaigning or stabilizing nation, see here, this tasty little logistics group here is giving me that. She will probably be in the eventual Russia, boosting GDP. Or, well, this person is more science, so she will be in the United States, boosting GDP and science, while as she will be mainly focused on GDP, because there is a lot of things I need to fix in Russia. Hopefully Humanity First is, if we look at priorities, is taking it generally in the way I want it to go. Lots of funding, building some armies and navies, that's fine. I plan on getting the Russian Miltech to not something complete garb, but generally the United States of America will be fighting the front lines of these wars. But yeah, your advisors at the beginning of the game suck. The next probably 2 or 3 advisors you will be recruiting suck. Get rid of them, dump them, they are hot garbage, and they will stranglehold your game. Advisors are incredibly cheap to recruit. We can see here, under, went too far, recruit. 30, 60, 30, 30, 60, 60, along those lines. And you get different ones every single month, like this guy. See him? Control nation, defend interests, coup, purge, but no crackdown, increase unrest, assault enemy space asset. He's all over the place. But his stats are really good. 65564. Control nation is a toss, mainly purge, coup, defend interest, increase unrest, assault asset, survey, disdain, assassinate. So you just need 1 or 2. So you could hire this guy. Keep in mind he is 49, so he will eventually die if your campaign goes too late, which is another big thing to keep in mind. Let's just pretend this guy's a beautiful age of 21 in his prime. 1 to 2 orgs, and all of a sudden he can do everything you could ever want, and he's some super killing machine. This person, politician, admin, 6, persuasion, control, crackdown, purge, coup, defend, public, campaign. This is everything. If this person pops in your first month, this is kind of the person you're going to want. High admin, good investigation for finding the other people immediately. Wow, she can't, so that would be the one caveat here. Mainly high persuasion, public, campaign, spam, control nation, and if you really have to, investigation for a crackdown, and then a purge is pretty much guaranteed once you hit the crackdown in the early game. The next big thing I see people screwing with: no funding. You need funding. What does funding do? The funding priority directs national resources into legitimate government and private efforts to support space programs and other goals for the owners of its control points. While not as profitable as spoils, it does not harm the nation. The main thing, does not harm the nation. Completing this priority permanently increases the nation's annual funding by 10, which becomes the income for owners of control points. So we can see here, if we actually unpause, I'm about to complete this. We're at 96.6. Let's see if we can't get this to tick over. We'll actually boost it a little bit. Oh, there we go, it's ticked over. Our money should update here soon. There we go. The nation's funding has changed by plus 1.7 in the last 30 days. The reason that is so important is because this cash flow will eventually cut down. You're going to use cash in space. You're going to need cash to buy orgs. Cash is very good.
The needle.
Cash in this game is the most useless resource, but also the most taxing resource at the same time, because generally, if you have enough money, you don't notice it and you're fine, but the second you run out of money and you need it, it becomes next to impossible to get it fast without burning the country to the ground or crashing your space economy by selling all your resources off. So generally, this is the way you don't cut yourself from the back end. You just gradually increase the economy naturally, and over time your funding will build up.
Public sentiment is
as your cost
with us.
from orgs increase, say here monthly income -6, this
Mom's lost you.
is slowly working away in the background to counteract that point. Very good.
Target destroyed.
There we go. Destroyed the xenoflora. Very, very good. Yes. So the next thing, democracy and these. These are the big boys. GDP, flawed democracy, advanced, sectarian, 6.5 or 65k and 4.1. Generally, you want this to be low. Inequality, you want low. The reason for that is because inequality being low makes this per capita GDP go higher, and when this is higher, boosting economy is better, which means bada bing, bada boom. Big number here, and bada boom means this, which means more of these. Very, very simple, very concise. Lower inequality per people means they all have more money per capita GDP, which increases your actual GDP when you increase the economy, because it's not just a few people getting uber rich, it's the actual quality of the gross domestic product of the country getting better quicker, which then increases your investment points, which allows you to reinvest back into the country more efficiently, faster, better, booming the nation's economy. The United States of America, as it is in real life in this game, starts in a recession. There is some work to put into this country. You might go down $1 billion. That's fine. The first priority in America in this game is fixing the inequality, getting the education up as high as possible while fixing your flawed democracy, and getting the unity back to some place that's not complete garbage. That will honestly increase. At the beginning of the game, the US is like 412 research. If you just fix these simple problems, if I could snap my fingers, fix those problems immediately, we would be up closing in on 700 research. It's insane how much research you can just generate by fixing these stats, and while fixing these stats will also fix your economy. You can see here we're also doing a little bit into boost, a little bit into mission control. I'll probably make a separate video once I get this campaign rolling along a bit more and record on my strategy for space. The new strategy is, for me at least, is I'm just stocking boost. I'm doing, we can see here, Victor 5 and Victor 4. Spoilers, these are basically Alien Agent 4 and Alien Agent 5 coming into the Earth. But basically, Luna, boom, sight. I'm interested in stealing, let's just say, this one, mainly Shackleton Crater I will be stealing because it has most of everything, and probably this because it has noble metals. So that way I will have all 5 resources here, and nobody else will be able to get all of the 5 different types of basically collecting all the Pokemon. And then I will just be hard saving boost, hard research for construction platform. I will be immediately rushing the Mars technology. I will be controlling my research slots here. You can see a mission to the moon. So I need to actually be ready here really soon to go. But I'm controlling this research slot. I'm going to make an effort to also control this research slot. And I will not be doing mission to Mars. Quite frankly, I will be hard saving till I get to the construction platform. I will then be planting one singular base on the best place, usually Olympus Mons. I will get a construction platform as fast as possible, get income, hopefully saved up from the moon at that point, and claim every site on Mars. I will just claim every site on Mars. I will go to Phobos, I will claim that as well, Dynamos, and claim that as well. I will claim everything in Mars. I've seen strategies from Peruin and Potato McWhiskey. They have gone for a Mercury strat with this whole like Dyson Sphere thing. Mainly Potato McWhiskey went way overboard with that, which, to be fair for him, there is no guide telling you how to use this. I also learned from Peruin this strategy, and from Peruin's video gameplays and exploits there, I am throwing Mercury in the trash for the early game. It's not a priority. In the last game I played, I went all the way to 2032. The AI never once researched Interplanet mission, so I can just perma-delay this until I have the mission control to fill it all out. But until then, I just want to claim every site on Mars, quite frankly, which is why I'm also on Earth getting myself some mission control slots. In Kazakhstan, I'm just full for the boost train, but I'm honestly going to switch off to mission control time because, of course, a high percentage of this goes towards the rest of the Eurasian Union members. See here, Belarus, 0.34 boost, which, you know, is whatever. I'm still getting the boost I need. Every little schmeckle of boost helps, and mainly, this is a schmeckle of boost denied to everybody else. This Kazakhstan is extremely cheap. It's, what, 8 plus 8, 6. 16 cap. That's nothing. Egypt is worth 30. Israel is almost worth the same as Kazakhstan, and yet is way worse. Kazakhstan has more science, giving me more money, has more investment points, it has way more boost. It's just overall the more lucrative profit. We're also trying to fix welfare. We are drastically decreasing this inequality. The reason for that, and we're also boosting knowledge a ton. The reason for that, Russia, their knowledge authoritarianism sucks. This will get dispersed. This 19.4 million people, that is a considerable chunk of 148 million people combined. That will be a little over, but like 12%-ish. So if these people become very democratic, that will dilute when Russia unites with them, especially considering they will be uniting with like Belarus. Mainly the Baltic states will want to flip because they have claims here. They have democracy value. Ukraine's an autocracy, so that'll kind of help because it's better than an authoritarian government. Generally, these countries, I'm not interested in uniting them, especially this country, Uzbekistan. I'm not interested in uniting Uzbekistan with the Eurasian Union at all. And you may be wondering why. Well, the reason is their inequality ain't bad. Their GDP sucks. It's 3 times worse than Russia's. No boost, no MC, no research, garbage development points. GDP is atrocious, and mainly their government type is horrendous. Why would I want to unite, especially diluted here, 34.8 million people. combined in, if we united Russia and Uzbekistan right now, the Uzbekistan people with all of these garbage stats would equal a fourth of the then Eurasian Union, dragging them down into the Garboville. We want to unite Russia with better nations. Belarus is a decent candidate-ish because of its very low amount of population, decent GDP, and okay research, and mainly its proximity to the EU. Baltic states is really good because their stats are actually decent, good GDP, and especially very low amount of people. And their high democracy value is very good to unite with. So what else do I want to quickly cover? I guess that's another thing. I'll reiterate here, but Potato McWhiskey and Peruin has already gone over in their own separate videos. But basically, MC, the limit, this is standard difficulty. Before you get any of the cloaking tech for disguising your MC value, don't go over 90. Don't go over 120 without the next one. Don't go over 150 without the next one. There was a patch that was updated, which made it on normal difficulty or lower. The aliens care less about this. And the biggest thing is in the latest patch, like-minded factions like Humanity First, the Resistance, and the Academy will work together in more of resisting the aliens. If I'm going and beating up the aliens, then Humanity First likes me. If I'm getting stronger, but I'm getting stronger by, say, taking over servant-controlled countries or protectorate-controlled countries, then Humanity First likes me for that. They like that. Or, if I'm just strong in general, they're not going to absolutely hate my guts as much as they would the servants in that case, because they know, hey, the resistance guys, they're not going as far as we think it takes to defeat the aliens, but them being strong, just the way I think of the Humanity First being strong, and they can be my buffer shield for the servants and the protectorates and beat up on them. Finally, or at least the way they say is the AI, as it should, thinks of me the same way. It's like, damn, these resistance guys, they control America. Well, they have all these armies. If the protectorate or the servants try anything fishy with the UK, well then they're just gonna, they'll solve it. They'll be our buffer against these guys, you know? Which is very good. I very much hope the AI works that way. I have full intents of believing that it does, seeing as how the AI has only improved. Unlike most strategy games, I haven't seen the AI do anything completely lackluster or just completely without question. There was always a strategic input or a reasonable way for me to see how they would do that. Now, there are sometimes they will do things which I will question. That is more of a player who has been playing strategy games for a long time, and they are a computer, but they also are working off of variables I cannot see or are constrained to variables I do not know. But yeah, because obviously if it was one AI running everybody's games at once, save for the servants, and we let, it's like the whole chess bot beats the Grandmaster type deal. If we let one servant AI play against every Terra Invicta player in the world, eventually it's just going to become unstoppable. As we talk, we see the servants invading India, even more of the reason to give them the boot out of the UK. But India will definitely be next on the table for booting them out, which then they'll just migrate to China. I talked about that in my claims video, about the migration of, I'm going to boot them out of the UK, which is going to, if we look over here, at resources for the servants, they're over their cap. And I'm going to boot them out of the UK, which is going to free up 30 cap, which then they'll come over here and just take another 2 control points. I mean, that's just how it is. That's pretty much how the way this rolls. But other than India, if we can fill up India, I'm hoping in an ideal world, a truly ideal world, Project Exodus would control India, Humanity First in China, and we leave South America to the initiative, and that would basically relegate the anti-alien factions to being isolated on Africa, full of a bunch of poor people, no armies, low education with no science. I hate to say it, but basically containing the anti-aliens to Africa is extremely useful, because I don't think there's a single army-bearing nation on the entire continent, but unless, I guess Africa ends pretty much here, and this begins the Asian sphere of influence, or like the Middle East. I don't know how you would describe this, but Israel's definitely not an African nation. But yeah, they are information age 4.3, actually fairly advanced technology, technologically superior army. That might be new strat. Who knows? The problem with like, I would go an Africa campaign. Sounds interesting, like, you know, rags to riches, basically. Unite Africa into Super Africa. Sounds fun. The problem is a lot of the text. A lot of the text. If we go here to the text tree, say Africa, and we go full search. Main thing we get, great nations. This is another little tips and trick I didn't do in my full button tutorial. If you ever want to find something, God, this is so good. So if you're like, oh, I want mining, you have the tech for mining, sure. Full search is now going to search everything with the word mining in it. So we go to applied artificial intelligence, we can see here, where did it pick up the keyword for mining? I think it was automated mining complex is a requirement for the following factions. So I think that's where it picked it up. But mainly you can see here, like, mass drivers will lead to space mining. The main thing for this, useful, Africa, you can see your great nations, boom, great nations. House of Islam is like, I imagine in some African countries. The main thing we're probably looking here, the African Union is probably the big boy we're looking at in there. Oh, if I go back quickly, I'm sure some people want to see that. Great Nations Technology Tree. If you right-click a tech, it's going to tell you everything it requires to go into it. So we are not alone, rival, domestic. I think this was the exact, in the claims tutorial, exact tech tree we looked at. But yeah, little quick thing there. Getting pretty long on the video. Is there anything else I wanna go over for, I guess, big boy mistakes? I guess another thing, right at the beginning, you're going to get an event for a different couple things to give you either more money, more influence, a bit more special ops, or something else. You want the special ops, like, flat out. You have enough influence as long as you don't go over your cap and screw yourself. You will have enough money. Take the special ops. You only get special ops through orgs, and if you roll bad, you will cuck yourself. To investigate alien activity,
Where do you need me?
it takes 5 special ops. Researching special ops gives you this. This +4 is because I've investigated 4, you can see right there, xenology from the following sources. 4% from alien activity investigations. You get more from alien investigations. You also track down, progress the storyline. You don't want to soft lock yourself out of that. The rest can be nice, and if you look at your counselors and you can, like, sort of line up yourself at like a round 2, round 3 ops org, then sure. But for generally people, this is the option of how not to soft lock yourself. Another thing, dominating the tech tree. Don't focus too much on these. A lot of the techs in here are not worth it. And what I mean by that is you just don't need them. Like military science lab, information science lab, social science lab, all of these labs, to me, xenology science lab, are garbage, except for this one. This one's good. +1 bonus to alien detection. Very tasty. And also, all of the main story researches are xenology, and the bonus of the +10%. Generally, I build 5 of these. I build 5 of these, and probably, like, I slap on usually an energy one for the increased boost, but I might troll around with something else, like a social one, because these techs are some really bulky and annoying, like the Great Nations being 25,000 research. The reason you don't want to spam stations is if you don't have space income, it takes boost. So say I right now spam up 3 space stations, I'm going to be like probably net 0 on boost, which is terrible, which is the entire idea. My plan for this is I go to Luna, get the good site. This is my strategy. You might want to try this out. I'm honestly playing around with trying to find the best openings. That's why in all these videos you never find myself being really far in, for a multitude of reasons. I'm like hyper fixated right now on openings to this game. And the current one I'm pursuing is 1 or 2 good places on Luna, go to Mars, fill every site, then come back to Earth once you have rock solid income, go to LEO, and fill up every slot. All 16 of these are yours, basically. And if you don't have them, build little marine cheese ships, fly around, seize the rest, call it a day. And you will just interface up, and that's my general plan. It's like, yeah, just interface up, get some good stuff, and really rockstar these planets in the Earth-based economies. A lot of people in this game are already pointed towards trying as fast as possible to build up space-based economies and turn away from controlling nations on Earth, because they're kind of volatile. And as a person who likes developing metas and likes pursuing all forms of strategy if I think they're viable, I'm of course screaming ahead in the opposite direction. I will keep you guys updated on how that works. I am working as hard and as fast as possible to develop my own meta for saying screw space, Earth-based economy, baby. Now, obviously, that's not meta for actual fleets, but generally, I've seen a lot of people, especially like Peruan Potato McWhiskey, building like nanofabs for money. I don't want to do that. I'm not wasting my space resources, my income, my control points, my MC, especially my MC, on generating money. I'm just going to keep putting away a little bit and letting it accrue in time in the United States. Hopefully we'll solve that issue. I'm not wasting MC on building more MC, spamming around Venus and having another place to control. I will just let it tick over time in my countries. I think ground-based MC is more than enough until you're ready to start spamming out ships. I think the Mercury strategy, not Venus, disregard that, Mercury. I think the Mercury strategy is really good, is if you're going to spam up a bunch of shipyards and a bunch of MCs, and you need 200 MC or something to have this Giga Stellaris level fleet to basically proxy control the entire solar system, then sure. But I'm not going to have on standby several gigatons of MC wasting away, when instead I could, colonize all of Mars and its moons, because I genuinely think that if I could somehow space race and get all of these sites and the moons on Mars, and then basically backdoor onto Luna eventually, and marine assault any of the servants or anybody I don't like, and even off of Mars, that would be the meta. I'm also looking for this Earth launch window. I'm aiming for it. Ideally, we would be leaving the Earth launch window. The reason I say that is because I will be rushing the techs, the construction platform techs here, which means I will be able to spam more bases down with my boost without using boost, using actual resources faster than other people. Hopefully, my main hope is Mission to the Moon unlocks. I stall Mission to Mars, everybody waste all of their boost going to the Moon and into space or Earth. I will keep track in here, in the resources screen, of everybody's boost. And once I identify that they are all in no position, or at least only Humanity First is in position, for example, to go to Mars, I will bum rush the tech, immediately launch, and monopolize. That is my current plan. But yeah, I will very much keep you guys updated on that plan. But generally, that's the big mistakes I see people making. I wanted to discuss them because I know a lot of other people are already too far along in their own series to really talk about it at this point. But for those second, third wave of people who are coming into this game, and especially with the new patches coming out, I want to look for alternative openings. I trashed on the United States of America opening in my button-by-button tutorial. I thought it was too hard. I've come back. I'm back on board with the US opening. I still think EU, if performed properly, and basically if you EU4 style and you have the patience to reload enough, I think this is definitely better. I think the Russia opening has great potential. I think in a perfect world I would start with Russia, so that way I could start fixing it immediately. The problem is every single time I've started in the Russia opening, somebody sneaks themselves into the USA. I can't allow that. The USA is too powerful to fall into the hands of a pro-alien faction, or just people who want to sit on their hands like the Protectorate. It's just too much. too many armies are going to waste, and too many nukes can be brought to bear against me. And generally with the US and how powerful they are and how peaceful and how stable a country it is, it's impossible to oust them. So, yeah, that is pretty much the lowdown. If I have any more ideas or any more strategies or updates, especially when I get further along into the space part of this, I will definitely make a recap video, like a part 2-ish of the, probably labeled something different, like my opening space strategy or something like that, to show you guys what happened of this lunar hop into Mars domination strategy. But that'll definitely be all for now. Thank you guys for watching. If you could leave a comment, like, and subscribe, it really does help the channel. It really does. I don't really like to ask that of people. It feels kind of awkward, but truly it does. It's not much on an individual's part to hit a couple little buttons, and in general it helps in a lot of different reasons. It helps me, it helps the channel grow, but more importantly is if you like the content, if you like what I had to say here, it helps other people. It helps other people see this. It helps the video have better reach, and so that way other people can have this advice, have these insights into the game and be helped. You guys did amazing support on the claims video. It's honestly mind-boggling how many people have watched that, and the feedback on it in the comments is overwhelmingly positive. I'm grateful for you guys watching and liking it, and I'm excited to bring more content like that your way in the future. If you haven't checked out as well, my Open XCOM, the X-Files series, that is definitely an interesting series you guys can check out as well. But in general, I think that is going to be all for me on the Terra Invicta today. Alrighty, thank you all for watching.